December 29th, 1610. Deep winter in the Carpathian Mountains. An armed cavalry rides furiously toward Csejte castle. They are not sent by enemies. They are sent by the king himself. Led by Count Georg Thurzo, the soldiers smash through the heavy oak gates. They expect a grand royal welcome from one of the wealthiest nobles in Europe. Instead, they walk into a living nightmare. The air inside the castle smells of copper and rot. In the main hall, investigators freeze in horror. A young girl lies dead on the floor. Another is barely clinging to life, her body covered in bizarre wounds. And at the center of it all stands the most powerful woman in Hungary, Countess Elizabeth Báthory. The horror that took place behind these stone walls would shock the world for centuries. But the final punishment given to the Countess was even more terrifying. To understand how this happened, we must look at who Elizabeth Báthory truly was. She was not a common criminal. She was royalty. Born into the ultra-wealthy Bathory family, her cousin was the King of Poland. Her uncle was the Prince of Transylvania. She owned more land than the King of Hungary himself. In fact, the king owed her massive amounts of money. When her husband, a legendary warrior known as the Black Knight, died in battle, Elizabeth became the sole ruler of her vast empire. She held absolute, unchecked power over thousands of peasants. And that is when the whispers began.
Local girls from nearby villages started disappearing. They were hired to work as servants at Csejte castle, promised good food and safety, but none of them ever returned home. The peasants talked of strange noises echoing from the castle at midnight. They whispered about bodies buried secretly in the woods under the cover of darkness. But who would dare accuse a royal? To speak against the Countess meant instant execution. Elizabeth was completely untouchable, until she made one fatal mistake.
As the years passed, the rumors grew darker. Later legends claimed the Countess was obsessed with youth. They claimed she believed that bathing in human blood would keep her skin forever flawless. Modern historians debate the blood baths, but the real court documents paint an even more terrifying picture. Elizabeth was driven by a cruel, psychological obsession with control. She began targeting minor noble girls, the daughters of lower gentry who came to her castle to learn court manners. This was her fatal error. Peasants could be ignored, nobles could not. When these upper-class girls began dying, their families demanded answers. The King of Hungary could no longer protect his wealthy debtor. He ordered a secret investigation. And that brings us back to that frozen night in December. Because of her royal blood, Elizabeth Báthory could not be put on trial. A public execution of a noblewoman would disgrace the entire monarchy. Her accomplices were executed, but for the Countess, the judges designed a unique psychological hell. They took her to the highest tower of her own castle. Workers were brought in with stone and mortar. Brick by brick, they sealed her inside her own bedroom. They left no doors, no windows, only a tiny 2-inch slit in the stone wall to push through scraps of food and water. She was locked in absolute darkness, completely alone, left to decay in the very castle where she once ruled with an iron fist. She survived in that dark, silent tomb for 4 years. On August 21st, 1614, a guard peeked through the slit to drop off food. He found the Countess lying face down on the floor. She was dead at age 54.
But history leaves us with a chilling question. Was Elizabeth Báthory truly the world's most prolific monster? Or was she a powerful, wealthy widow framed by a bankrupt king who wanted her lands and wished to erase his massive financial debts? The truth lies buried beneath the ruins of Csejte castle.
Unlocking secrets of the past. This is QSTP for you.